Hi there, I'm James Osborne, the co-founder of the Recruitment Network, and welcome to Recruitment TV. The place where we bring you the conversations, the ideas and insights shaping the future of recruitment right now. In each episode, we'll go behind the scenes with leaders building exceptional recruitment businesses, uncovering the decisions, the challenges and the strategies that are driving real growth. Recruitment TV explores the people and ideas moving the industry forward right now. Brought to you by the Recruitment Network, we're here to share the knowledge, experiences and inspiration that help recruitment businesses succeed in today's evolving world. So let's get started with this episode of Recruitment TV. Right then, well, hi everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is part of our super agency series that we're running at the moment to try and explain to the world of recruitment actually what the fastest growing recruitment organizations are doing right now to outperform the rest of the marketplace. Today's session, we're talking about the lean agency, and this is about how super agencies and recruitment organizations can use outsourcing and offshoring to basically do more with less, I suppose is the sort of the summary. And I think if we look at the shift of what's been happening across the sector over the last 18 months, 2 years or so, I think there's been a big move at the moment from those classic sort of quite heavy, bloated internal headcount organizations with lots of high fixed costs to recruitment organizations now going, how do we become lean? How do we become high output teams where all that non-core work predominantly is handled externally. And then we can free up our recruiters to focus on the stuff that really, really moves the needle as much as anything else. And in particular, revenue generating activity. And I think outsourcing and offshoring is a big part of that, which is why we're talking about it today. I think it creates, I suppose, two levers for super agencies to sort of focus on. Number one, about how do you increase the output per recruiter that you've got within your business. Obviously, a big focus that we've been talking about across the TRN community for the last 10 years, for that matter. But then similarly, how do you improve the profitability of your recruitment organization without necessarily growing your headcount or adding more headcount? So to help us with this today, we've invited along Infinity Staff Global, fast becoming one of the actual expert voices on how to properly execute this, what to outsource first, how to manage a blended team effectively, and how to get your head around this world of outsourcing and offshoring. Because for some people, I think it's quite a dark art in some cases. So we invite on today Ross Thompson, Executive Manager of Infinity, and he's an offshore recruitment specialist. So no better person to give us an insight into what's all going on here. He's just back from Turkey from a wedding, so he's probably slightly jaded, maybe. I don't know. How was the wedding, Ross? Was it good?
The wedding was amazing. So good to be down the tools for a week and just enjoy and drink a lot of beer and enjoy the heat. 39 every day.
Oh, nice. Well, that's brilliant. Well, let's get straight into it, Ross. And I think let's start by taking a bit of a step back, I suppose, and looking at a recruitment organization of today. So we call them super agencies, the ones that are significantly outperforming the rest of the market. In your mind, what makes them different operationally from a traditional recruitment company, would you suggest?
I guess they've looked at different models. So the outsourcing has really become to South Africa has really become a thing over the last two and a half years. So I've really looked at that and looking at a lot of my clients and what they've actually done to be able to position themselves as a super agency. So I guess a good case study for you is one of our clients, a TRN member. They came to me originally and said, hey, well, we want to outsource the resourcing function, pair a resourcer up with a recruitment consultant. And that worked really well. Within 2 months, they took on a second resourcer for another recruiter. And now they've grown their resourcing team to 5 and letting their recruiters concentrate on the client side while the resources just fill those roles behind them. So that model works really, really well.
And you mentioned South Africa. Why is South Africa becoming such a sort of a boom place at the moment for all this?
Let me take you back to my story and why I chose South Africa originally. So I ran a construction engineering recruitment business in Australia. I originally started going to the Philippines. I found a huge issue with language and cultural diversity. I thought, hang on, while I'm ex-South African, why don't I go to South Africa? Went to South Africa. Hired myself some recruitment consultants. Funny enough, some of those recruiters are still with me working in the healthcare business in Australia. And it just worked. English language proficiency is much better. The cultural fit is better. And also with the UK, time zone alignment is fantastic. 1 hour time difference in the summer and 2 hours in the winter months.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I've just come back from South Africa for a week over there doing some conferences over there. And the quality of the people is is just brilliant. I mean, it really, really is. I think a lot of people think, I don't know, you sometimes think about offshoring and outsourcing and say, oh, okay, they're probably going to be cheaper labor, probably not very good, but it's cheap, so it's okay. That doesn't come across at all in South Africa. It feels quite the opposite. It feels like the quality is, in some cases, higher than some we have in the UK.
Yeah, no, the price question's pretty much gone away. Yes, it is cheaper to go to South Africa, but if you want quality staff that have got good English language skills, that they've been well educated in South Africa, they work very, very similar models in recruitment to what we do here in the UK, you're going to find quality. But and we obviously pay a decent wage in South Africa, but even with us paying a decent wage, it is a cost benefit to clients here in the UK. But if you're just doing it to purely cut costs, that's the wrong way of thinking, is the way I see it. It's more about expanding your team and doing more with less.
And would you recommend, so that, you know, let's say you've got them in a recruitment role, there's a commission element to their salary. Would you recommend that they're on the same commission structure as someone in the UK, or would you put them on a different one?
I leave it up to our clients. Some of our clients say, hey, we would have paid the same commission regardless. Some people say, okay, well, we'll do a little bit of a different commission structure. The way we see it is we just leave that question up to them. I guess the best model that I've seen is somebody gets rewarded for their work, and they're going to drive them and motivate them to make that additional placement that month.
Okay, so one of the things that I suppose scares people a lot, in particular about the South Africa, I think, is things like employment law and that sort of stuff, because the employment law in South Africa is quite
it's very, very, very harsh, and if you don't do the right thing, you're going to get yourself into trouble. If you're employing subcontractors or contractors, that doesn't alleviate your responsibility. So with our model, we're a full employer. So we obviously take that risk away. We're not an employer of record. We are actually the actual employer. So we manage that employment relationship for our clients, so the clients are removed out of that. But we do see a lot of people going, okay, well, I'm going to go direct and hire a subcontractor or a freelancer. We know that SARS, which is the equivalent to HMRC, is now starting to crack down on that. We've got some cases where the subcontractor hasn't paid SARS, and the SARS is now coming after that employer, even here in the UK.
Yeah, I think you'd be a brave person to want to play with employment law from London, I think. So, or South African employment law, I should say. Just go back a stage, Ross, because I think, you know, obviously you talk this language, this is what you do all day long, and I get it. But there will be people on this call today, or listening in today, who are going, I don't quite understand how all this works. You say you employ them. I've heard of this thing called EOR, employee record. So just explain how all this works, and how do you guys work at Infinity?
Yeah, so we are a full company. We employ people on full-time or part-time contracts, or full, like equivalent to full-time employee or part-time employees. So there's that ongoing relationship. We make sure that we manage that HR relationship. So if there's any performance related issues, we're getting involved straight away. If for some reason the client has to end that relationship, we make sure we're ending that relationship so we don't end ourselves up in CCMA, which is equivalent to your Fair Work Commission here. Mm-hmm. So we manage that with an employer of record. They basically are payrolling the person. They don't manage any of the HR stuff, whereas we do. The other thing that we obviously, being a large employer in South Africa, which is 50 plus employees, we have to obey the employment equity bill. So obviously make sure that we do all the reporting and stuff like that, just to make sure that we live up to the South African government legislation.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's look at a 20 headcount recruitment business in the UK going, right, we want to stay lean, we're growing, we're having a really good quarter, good half of the year, things are really tracking in a good place. We've got AI all over our business now, so we're becoming quite slick in how we're thinking and how we're working. We now want to go down this route of looking into offshoring in South Africa. What would you suggest would be the first role, or maybe the first process that you would look at offshoring first, the easy entry into this?
I guess the very first thing is identify what the need is. What do you actually want to get? Do you want to get a resourcer to support your recruiters? Do you want to get somebody in marketing? If we're purely talking about the resourcing and recruiting function, do you want a 180 consultant that can handle clients and your other recruiters here onshore, build those relationships, and then hand over that relationship to a recruiter? So making sure you get the profile of the person you want straight off the bat, perfect. You then go to your offshore provider, say this is the profile. Make sure you interview or see multiple profiles, because just like hiring here onshore, you want to make sure you get the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that they will fit not just the work, but the dynamic of the team, the culture of the team, and then don't start with 3, 4, 5. Start with one. Make sure that one person is onboarded properly. Make sure that they feel part of your team. That's the biggest success we see, is when somebody really feels part of the team. Engage with them as they are somebody here onshore, just like they if they're being that they are offshore. So
yeah, but that's tough though, isn't it? To get someone. I mean, it's been a tough question ever since, I suppose, post COVID, when everyone's sort of going into remote working and that type of stuff. Is how do you build a culture, a sort of high performing culture, when you've got people working remotely, working from all over the world now, etc. That's not easy.
It's not easy, but if you do it right, it's very rewarding and it works well. So get them involved in your morning team huddles. Get them involved in the same KPIs and same performance metrics. Don't make them feel isolated. Try and make them feel as part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of my clients in Manchester. They've just brought their 3 employees out for their like yearly conference for a week, to make sure that they feel part of the team. So I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's what one of our clients has decided to do, is bring their 3 employees from South Africa to be part of their team here in the UK.
How have you seen the offshoring or the outsourcing process affect things like, I don't know, profitability per recruiter or all that type of stuff? Because we look at it from a point of view of, you got fixed costs, you got variable costs, you've got, that's changing your sort of bottom line model, but the top line model about revenue generation as well. Have you got maybe you've got like an example or a case study of someone that you've worked with where not only obviously they've saved money from a fixed cost resource perspective, but actually it's really moved the needle at the top of the funnel as well, and they're actually creating more revenue?
Well, yeah, I'll go back to a client that joined us probably February, March last year. Mm-hmm. He was a solo operator. He initially hired in the medical space, he hired somebody to do the resourcing for him, and then continued to grow. 6 months later, he hired a BD person from us. So he's now got a BD person and a resourcer. He's stepped up and he's pretty much doubled his revenue, if not quadrupled his revenue over the last 12 months by purely having somebody doing the sales side, somebody doing the resourcing side, and him managing both employees.
So what? So he sort of sits in the middle, manages the client relationship and everything else. But you got someone who's filling. When you talk about sales, though, as in sort of like the initial call, the initial cold calling on.
Yeah, full 360 sales. So it's a UK firm selling into the Canadian healthcare market, funny enough. So they've got a person doing sales into the Canadian market, and then they've got a resourcer that's filling those roles. So in the medical space.
It's so classic, isn't it? We really are in a borderless industry now, aren't we? When you think about it, where you've got someone probably working remotely from home in the UK, they've got an outshoring team in South Africa delivering into the Canadian market. They're probably using international, if it's healthcare, they're probably using international nurses and doctors anyway that they're bringing into the country. I mean, it's extraordinary. Correct. When you think about this modeling now that we have in a recruitment company. Yeah,
it's COVID, I guess, accelerated the whole idea of offshoring and working remotely. So a lot of people now do work remotely. So
yeah, and obviously you're an Aussie. So do you see this happening in other countries outside of the UK? I mean, are the Aussies tapping into remote working?
Yeah, 100%. The Australian market is definitely tapping into, definitely South Africa, but also they've been tapping into the Indian and Philippines offshoring market for quite a while now. So probably pre-COVID, and it's just accelerated since COVID.
Yeah, okay. I want to touch on one thing on this, because when we talk about the super agency model, obviously a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is a part of the stuff we're talking about is the utilization of technology and AI. And obviously that's a big part of it, right? If you want to be super efficient, super effective, lean, etc., then tech is going to have a big part to play in that. How do you see AI technology, it doesn't have to be AI, but technology and offshoring sort of working hand in hand together? I mean, have we got scenarios now where we go, right, let's go and build a whole load of AI and a load of agentic AI. Those AI agents are now working hand in hand with our offshoring team. So now suddenly I'm now measuring productivity performance of an offshoring team more than I was before, because they now should be more productive because they've got AI. I mean, how does this all sit together, do you see?
So I've had this long conversation with a number of people. I think you've got to consider AI as a tool,
Mhm.
and your consultants, be them onshore or offshore, have to embrace those AI tools, and really learn how to use those AI tools efficiently to increase your efficiency as a recruiter. So use the AI to help with your resourcing. Then it's never going to replace recruiters or resources or offshore people, but it's going to improve. And people who embrace AI are going to be in the industry long term. People
Mhm.
who do not embrace AI today are going to struggle and will probably be out of the industry within the next few years because they haven't really embraced that AI change. It's,
Yeah.
to me, it's a tool that they have to use.
The AI is changing technology, but recruitment will always be human powered. And JobAdder is the intelligent technology platform for recruitment organizations that want to put people first. They're the trusted partner for evolving agencies who still want their ATS to work their way. It's recruitment intelligence that keeps you in control and delivers real results from day one. If you want to spend more time with your candidates and clients rather than your CRM, visit jobadder.com today. We're running quite a lot of sessions at the moment about organizational redesign. So, what does a recruitment company actually physically need to look like in this type of market? And I've sort of got three layers. I've got sort of the human layer at home, for one of the descriptions. So, the people in the UK, let's say, if you're in a UK-based recruitment business, you then got the offshoring layer that's sitting underneath it, the outsourcing layer, and then underneath it, you then got actual AI agents, so like physical agents by name.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because you look at that business model and you go, okay, we've got high cost, mid cost, low cost, but actually the performance and the outputs of that group of people, agents or otherwise, is the same, if not more, than it was of a recruitment company 2-3 years ago. So
Yeah.
it's a very different model now, isn't it? When you think about it.
Yeah, 100% different model. It's only going to get more and more to that, where we rely more on AI agents. But I still think that recruitment is a people business, so you're never going to completely remove recruitment consultants out of the process because it's very hard to judge somebody, especially in that mid to senior level roles. Maybe in your factory workers and your high level or high volume recruitment, AI will become a lot more prevalent, but I don't think for that mid to senior level roles that AI is going to completely remove the personal relationship with recruitment consultants.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that's a big myth that goes around that it is. It's not. I mean, we've seen that time and time again. Let's touch on a couple more myths because I think if we go back to South Africa as an example, and I'm a massive fan of South Africa. It's one of my favorite places in the world. Purely because of the food and wine. There's no other reason. But if you look at some of the classic myths, I suppose, about the South African market, and I think we had this with the Indian outsourcing and Philippine outsourcing before, that people do make up connotations about what the market's like over there. So, for example, people talk about the political instability in South Africa. So, actually, is it sensible to have a business model where you're relying on a country like South Africa, where politically it's quite fragile and it could blow up? What are your thoughts on that one, first of all?
Politically, I think over the last 3-4 years, or definitely after the last 2 years, the political climate is actually stabilizing.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the government of national unity, where the DA has some substantial power within the ANC. Things are normalizing. Yes, you've got some tensions happening with the March on March, where the South African people are trying to say that they're over their African immigration. But that really doesn't affect the people that we recruit and consult. But politically, I think the stability is going to continue improving. I think in the next national elections, we might even see a change to more of a DA-led government rather than an ANC-led government. So, yeah, I'm quite positive about the political future of South Africa.
More so than maybe the UK political future based on what's going on at the moment and stability of the UK politics. There you go. That's a whole new story. And then the other one that people talk about is around this whole thing that, there's power cuts all the time. So, every day your computers go down and the internet goes down and it's a bit like third world country type stuff. I mean, I know the answer to this question, but I want to answer it publicly, obviously, because it's a fear that people have.
So load shedding is definitely a thing of the past. We haven't really had substantial load shedding for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
The electricity grid is actually stabilized. They've brought on more generation, and it is getting better and better over time. So But one thing that we also do, and we have done from the beginning, because we've run this business for a few years now, is we make sure that our employees have at least battery backup to be able to work for 3 or 4 hours if the electricity does get cut. But again, load shedding is really a thing of the past in South Africa now.
Yeah, and again, these are just myths. I think people just don't know about the country. They don't know enough about it. And I would recommend, by the way, anyone on the listening in today, just go. If you haven't been to South Africa, just go there. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world, bar none. I mean, it's absolutely stunning.
Highly recommend.
And the people are beautiful as well with that. Obviously, that other myth, which I think we've already touched on, is this piece around qualities. That if you offshore it, the people just aren't as good, or the quality isn't good. I think we talked around that already. Really, I mean, I don't know how else you can explain to people that the quality of the South African recruiter is really damn good.
Well, one thing what I'll say is, I am South African. I know I sound Australian. I was born in South Africa, but South Africans are born to work. We are taught from a very young age that you're not going to get anywhere unless you work damn hard, and that's in school. So you get grilled by your parents to school, and even to children of today. Like, I look at my cousins that have raised kids. Their kids are drummed in that you need to get the best grades that you can possibly get, because there is no social welfare in South Africa. So if you're not working, you don't earn or don't find a job, you're going to be living on the streets. So South African people definitely have a very strong work ethic. The education system is very similar to here in the UK. So if you hire somebody with a degree, that degree is going to be fairly equivalent to somebody here in the UK.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I think to remind people as well, if you've got people who have worked in the South African recruitment market, it's a tough market to work in. I mean, it's low margin, it's heavy PSL type business. So you've got recruiters who have battled PSLs and all that, and know how to get around it and answer those questions. That's pretty massive, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's touch on the financials, because I think I think, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's just obvious that this works. You've got great people in South Africa. You've got a great opportunity, hardly any time difference whatsoever. You can jump on an overnight flight and be there next morning for breakfast. And, it's not difficult at all, and it just works. Let's talk about the financials that sit behind it. Can you give me some examples of the sort of the financial modeling? So again, let's imagine I'm a 5-person recruitment business at the moment, and I want to model this out. So I want to expand. I want to grow this year. The markets are coming back. We're looking good. I just want to get to sort of a 10 headcount equivalent business. What would that look like if I offshored and outsourced that rather than just built up a team of people in the UK?
So first of all, and I'll say this to every member, when you are talking to your offshore partner or outsource partner, make sure that they're giving you full transparency in rates. Well, that's exactly what we do. So we tell you exactly how much salary we pay, what we accrue for annual leave, sick leave, and public holidays, what we pay for a pension, what we pay for the unemployment insurance fund, what we pay for the skills development levy. You need to know exactly what the offshore partner is paying, plus the markup that offshore partner is charging. So that's very, very critical. So you understand what the employee is getting, what the offshore partner is getting. So for a really good resourcer, you're looking at approximately £1,800 to £2,000 per month. You can get a little bit cheaper, but it is going to be on skill set experience. If you want somebody new grad, so we've got a client here in the UK that purely wants new grads that have got no skill set or no experience, but they've only just come out of university. You could probably get somebody from between the £1,200 and £1,400 mark per month. But again, it is all dependent on skill set and experience. If you want to go for a 360 consultant, you're going to be looking upwards of about £2,000. If you want somebody that's got very, very strong business development, you're looking at between £2,000 to £2,500 per month.
Okay, and in your model, that doesn't include things like it's not their laptop and LinkedIn licenses and all that type of stuff. It's purely the person. Yeah.
No, so with our clients, we include the laptop free of charge. We do that because we want to make sure that we maintain ownership of that laptop. So if the employee walks away, we can grab that laptop and wipe it from our client's information. It doesn't include any licenses or anything like that. We make sure that laptop is locked to our client's environment so that it's secure. So,
okay, perfect. And then, are there any other sort of not hidden costs, probably the wrong word, but any other sort of cost surprises that people might have? I mean, if people want to sit down and just really budget this out, is it literally that a case of what you just described there? There's my sort of figure. It's a monthly figure.
That's our model, James. Like we've got an all in told a monthly cost. We don't charge an upfront fee.
Nice.
And we do that because people I'll say this: people are the most unreliable asset in this world. We don't want to lock anybody into a long-term contract. A person may interview and be fantastic, and like let's say we hire that person, and then in 3 months' time we realize that person just doesn't work out. We want our clients not to feel locked in. They can terminate their contract. So.
Oh, really? Okay, fine. Okay, so it is quite scalable and scale downable then in that case.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We've purposely modeled our situation or our work model that way, just so we're not tying our clients into long-term contracts where they get somebody that's just not going to be right for their business long-term.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, nice. And then Ross, I just want to sort of almost close out slowly, but I want to start just give it a couple more examples, because I know you work with lots of great businesses who have done this and have got their head around it and that type of stuff. Have you got another example of a recruitment company that actually, maybe go back 2 years ago, were like 10 people, have made a deliberate decision to go, actually, do you know what? I don't want to be 10 people anymore for whatever reason that is, cost, whatever, and have now scaled back up to 10 people, but using offshoring instead type thing, or something similar to that?
Yeah. A education firm basically came to us about this time last year. They moved their whole compliance team of about, I think it's four staff to us.
Yeah.
Those 4 staff had left over time. They hadn't just said, okay, well, we're going to terminate those 4 staff. Those 4 staff left over time, and they ramped up to 4 staff here in South Africa, doing their whole compliance thing. So yeah, it's worked well for them that way. And they've probably reduced their compliance costs by about 40-50%.
Interesting. Okay, well there you go. That's fairly obvious, isn't it? So it's good. And I suppose we're doing a lot of stuff at the moment. We've got quite a few of the members who are going through some form of transaction. There's quite a lot of business valuations happening at the moment for all sorts of different reasons and that type of stuff, which is quite fun. How do you think the business valuation is affected by an organisation that's got 30% of its workforce offshored or outsourced? I mean, how does it impact this sort of, I suppose, the appetite to buy and get involved in a business like that as much as actually what it's worth?
That's an interesting question. So I exited out of my construction engineering recruitment business with back in 2021 with having a full offshore recruitment team. So it actually probably increased the value of the business because it reduced the cost of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the profit conversion to EBIT, right, is going to be higher for obvious reasons. You're getting more average bang for your buck out of your recruiters. But it's interesting because I asked that with tongue in cheek, to the sense of I sort of know the answer based on the people that we're talking to at the moment, and that they're actually saying now that they're very comfortable with a recruitment organisation having an offshore or outsourced team as part of it from a structural point of view, not necessarily from a valuation point of view. They think it's okay. They think it's part of the norm now, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Let's just fast forward now, Ross, to, I don't know, 3 years. I don't know how far you can look ahead these days anymore. 3 hours we could probably just to get away with. But let's look forward 3 years. The market's shifting massively still, lots of evolution and change. I think the AI journey hasn't really played out yet. We've got plenty more to come. Yeah. What do you see? I mean, again, we are talking about these super agencies, the ones that are significantly outperforming the rest of the market. And we've got some wonderful examples across TRN of these businesses that are just like, my God, they're really flying now in a very, very different way, deliberately as well, not just by chance. What do you see as a super agency of the future in sort of 2-3 years' time? What are they doing differently outside of all of this?
Being smarter in where they spend their money on, and which markets they go after. Are they expanding their operations into the US market or the Canadian market? Are they really locking in their current model, or are they being agile? So I guess 20 plus years of recruitment experience has taught me that you've got to be agile. You've got to go with it. You've got to make sure that you're maximizing your sales, but also reducing your costs. So
yeah. I'll finish on one last question, if that's okay. It goes back a little bit to the cultural question about having a remote team. But if you are a leader, so again, there'll be people listening to this today who might be a one-person recruitment business, right? Going, well, ultimately, I've got to manage these people. How does a leader manage someone remotely from a completely different culture? Is it different from what you would do day to day normally, or is there a different approach that you've got to take now?
That's a very hard question. It does come down to personal fit and how you do it. So I guess I've had a South African team now since 2019, 2020. the way I've done it is be personable. I do go out and see my team probably 4 times a year, but that might not be possible for everybody. But the good thing is, if you do go down to South Africa, you can get a lot of wine and food, and especially biltong. Just making sure that you're engaging with that person, checking in that person, supporting that person, I guess, is the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I mean, I've got 6 South Africans who work in our business at TRN, and I think they're all brilliant. I mean, they really generally are. Hopefully, they're listening into this, because they're absolutely fantastic. And all the things that you talked about, work ethic and everything else. I mean, it's all there, right? They generally want to work hard and make a difference, and they're very passionate about what they do, passionate about the impact that they make, which I think is exceptional and not always widespread. I think in some places, you meet people who just don't really care. They just go through the process. Whereas I find the South Africans generally, you really want to make a difference.
Yeah,
there's a pride piece there. Ross, this is really interesting. Thank you. I think you've definitely sort of dispelled some of the sort of the thoughts or the myths or concerns about doing this for people, because it is. I think we take it quite relaxed. I mean, you and I have travelled the world. We've seen places. Some people haven't done that, and therefore this whole concept feels quite remote and quite alien to them. For someone to now take a step forward, how do they get to test out what it's like to work with you guys at Infinity? How do they? What's the next step for them from here? Basically, if they're in, okay, I get this now. This makes sense, and Ross is a good guy, and I can see how this all can work. What now?
I guess the very first step is get in touch with me and my sales team, Tasman. I've got a BD person in Johannesburg that's been brilliant. Just have that initial conversation so you get a full understanding of our model. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but if you want to explore it, ask questions. We're more than happy to answer and provide the full scale proposal, and then go from there. So we don't pressure sale. We guide through, and we see ourselves as a true partner. We're not just set and forget. We actually partner with you throughout the whole journey.
100%, and highly recommend, if people are interested, do reach out to Ross. But also at the same time, I'm sure Ross will do so. We do it across TRN. We'll introduce you to other people who have done it, and they can tell you what worked, what didn't work. Where the challenges were, but actually the output it's making, the impact it's making. Because if you can hear from your peers, that's the whole point of TRN, right? But the same principle, I think. So, Ross, really great to see you, mate. As always, welcome back from Turkey. Looking forward to your next holiday, I'm sure. When you back
on Wednesday.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, good. And when are you back in South Africa next?
On Thursday for a matter of 8 hours before I catch my flight from to Sydney.
All right, nice. We get a chance to stock up on the biltong. You'll be all right then. So
yeah.
and I know it's nice. I had a call yesterday morning, first thing, with one of the members over in Sydney. They said it's really bloody cold at the moment, so take your jumper with you.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be 4 degrees Saturday morning when I'll wait. Then going from 39 degrees in Turkey on Saturday to 4 degrees. I'm not looking forward to it, that's for sure.
Good on you, mate. Listen, really great to catch up. Thanks for your time. Thanks everyone for listening in today. I hope you found that useful. Do give this offshoring, outsourcing thing a look in, test the water, try it out, get your head around it. We go back to why we're doing this series in particular. The super agencies of today, the recruitment companies that are significantly outperforming the rest of the market, are becoming obsessed around productivity, around being lean and being agile. And that type of stuff, and outsourcing and offshoring is one big part of that, alongside some of the other elements as well. So do get your head around it. I hope today has helped you with that process. Do reach out to Ross and his team and see what you can find out about it. But Ross, listen, great to see you today. Thanks so much for joining us. Safe travels back, and look forward to catching up everyone very soon on the next episode. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers, Ross.